So basically, I've been working for 12 years to create the most condensed, powerful process that can help people shift those things, kind of like we talked about today, that are the hidden parts working in opposition that create resistance. We resist back, and we spend so much energy just kind of navigating life on top of that. So how do you go in and collect those shattered parts back into wholeness? They bring their superpowers, and then you're free to then do what you want to do.
Hi folks, welcome to Finding Fuscata. I'm Sean. A couple days ago I had an opportunity to talk to Whitney Riley, who is a transformational mentor. Something I had never really heard of before, but it's like a coach, but more than that. It's amazing. And I thought I was going to interview her and, learn about what it is that she does, but she just pulled out her bag of tricks, and we held an impromptu session, and she walked me through some of her meditation process, and it was absolutely amazing. We had so much fun. My belly hurt from laughing after the conversation. I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it, and I hope that she brings as much to your life as she has brought to mine. So enjoy the conversation, and here's Whitney.
I would love to hear how you ended up here doing this amazing thing that you love.
Wow. So the Cliff Notes version is that I served 23 years on active duty in the Air Force, and I joined because I had a daughter, I had a wife and a daughter, and I was living in New Hampshire, and we had a really, really rough winter, and it was so hard to just make a living. And I was working construction, and there was all these guys who were in their 40s and 50s, and all day long they would complain about how their back hurt and they were just falling apart and it was rough. And they kept saying if I would have joined the military, I could have retired by now and have a pension. And I was 20 and they were 50. And I thought, oof, yeah, I'm not going to do this. But I remember I was driving home from work one day, and I was in my little white pickup truck with a ladder on the top, and I had a 6-pack of beer and a cold cup of coffee full of cigarette butts from that morning. And there was a truck ahead of me and beside me and behind me, and they all had a ladder and a 6-pack of beer and a cold cup of coffee with cigarette butts in it. And I just remember thinking, if I don't do something right this second, then that's going to be me 30 years from now. And I knew that my life, so I grew up in the church, and there's this thing that people say where they feel called into the ministry, they want to be a pastor or something like that. And I always felt that call into the ministry. I come from all the men in my family were pastors and Bible teachers and theologians, and that's just what we do. In fact, my name Helgerson comes from the not Celtic, but it's the Viking. What? Oh man, I'm tripping up the language that the Vikings used to speak. But the person who was the Helga was the spiritual leader in the community. I want to say Gaelic, but I know it's not it.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah. So the Helgeson was the person in the family who was the spiritual leader in the community. So it goes back generations in my family, and I knew that's what I was supposed to be doing, but I didn't want to do it for a lot of reasons. So I joined the Air Force. I got off the highway that day, went to the Air Force recruiter, and I joined up. Wow. And I served 23 years, but my life was a lot of chaos and confusion and craziness, and just recently I kind of started to identify with the story of Jonah, where Jonah was on the ship and everything was crazy and chaotic until he got thrown into the water, and then ended up following through with what he was supposed to be doing. And that's when his life path got to where he ended up going where he needed to go. And so recently I've just had this overwhelming urge to talk to people and coach people and have conversations, because it's what I love to do. And so I've finally just kind of come full circle, and I'm experimenting with this now to see if the craziness and chaos in my life will start to subside now that I'm finally submitting to what it is that I know I should have been doing in the first place. Make sense?
Absolutely.
That's a pretty good,
Absolutely.
that's a pretty good Cliff Notes version of
Yeah.
that, I think.
I think that's great. And I got some more information. I was really interested about this military stint that you kind of, when
Oh
we
yeah.
first talked, it's like, it's kind of
Yeah,
a,
skipped
kind
over
of a big
that.
deal. And that's really amazing that like in this moment, that was like you took a hard turn really fast.
Mm,
Like you saw this sort of picture, you played it forward, and
yeah.
then that helped your body and your mind kind of get together and go, I'm going and we're doing this right now.
Yeah. And then recently, one of the things that's driven me down this path specifically is that my my boss, he's a really really good dude. Of all the bosses I've ever had, he's the least bad, I'll say. But but for whatever reason, he eh, so I work in project management, construction management, and sometimes we get slow times. There's not a whole lot going on. You know, the guys will get together in the office and we'll be shop talking about whatever, or sometimes we'll be talking about sports or whatever happened, and conversations happen in the workplace. What are you gonna do? And I I try to be diligent. I try to be the guy who's like on point, get my stuff done, everything's all squared away. But for whatever reason, anytime my boss comes out and sees people talking, it's me in the middle. Like, so he only ever sees, so there'll be conversations going on for like an hour, and I'm diligently working away. And then I'll come on and be like, oh, yeah, remember that one time? And my boss will come out and he's like, why are you always out here talking, Sean? I'm like, ah. So,
Not fair. Not fair.
yeah. But he said to me one time, it's probably about a year ago, he's like, Sean, he's like, you talk so much. You got to find some way that you can talk for a living. And I was like, there is a way that I could do that.
Mm.
And so that kind of got me thinking about this. But then also this year, I got my bonus, and I know I should be thankful that I even get a bonus. Not everybody gets bonuses, sure, but it's based off of your annual bonus is based off of your performance rating and your income and your time, and because I'm a federal employee, so they got this whole algorithm that they apply to it. And this year I doubled down, so my job performance was better, and I had a higher performance rating than I did last year. And I've moved up a pay scale, and so I was expecting my bonus to be, X amount of dollars. And then when I saw it, it was half of what I thought it was going to be. And then,
Wow.
of course, Uncle Sam takes their 28%. So basically, it was like, less than $1,000. And I felt so insulted by that. And I know, I mean, I'm thankful for it. And it came just in time because, we're having a heat wave and my air conditioner died. And it was just enough to pay for a new air conditioner, you know. So I'm like, did you freeze? Are you there?
I, I'm I'm here. Can you see me?
Oh, yeah. The picture froze for a second. I'm like, oh, okay. But it was a good angle. It was a good angle. I was worried I'm going to
Oh,
get frozen. Like, that.
so little insert humor break, right? Because when
Yeah.
you say that your AC froze up, like that's a horror story.
Oh man. Well, it's like my wife has she's got really bad seasonal allergies,
Mm.
and and there's something happening like in our neighborhood, and nobody knows what it is, but all the women are affected by it, where they say that it feels like they're getting like a rubber band snap on their skin, and then like a little, it looks like a bug bite appears. And almost all the ladies in the neighborhood are experiencing this. None of the guys are, but the only thing that we've found that makes it go away is that if I've got to have air purifiers going, dehumidifiers going, ACs going, everything got to be very temperature controlled for her to have any kind of comfort, because it's really really maddening for her. So when AC goes, it's not just bad because it's a hot day, it's also that it's the only thing that brings Kelly any kind of comfort in the home. So I was thankful that I got this money, and it was just enough to buy a new air conditioner. But it's like that's not what I thought my bonus was going to go for. You know what I mean?
Sure,
So
yeah.
but that's not, man. I thought I was gonna be getting information from you, but I'm just yakking this whole time.
You know what? I love a good story. I love chatting, just like you. Just like you. I was thinking
So
you were, you were talking about like making a living at chat, like doing exactly what we're doing, right?
yeah,
So we're just hanging out chatting.
oh, yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
I
no script, no game plan. We're just two people getting to know each other who have
Yeah.
some overlap.
What could be better in life than that?
Not not much.
Yeah, it's great. Um, but actually, you know what? Maybe you can weigh in on this
Yeah.
because this has been a pattern in my life, and it's also one of the reasons why I've decided to change my trajectory. Like I told you the story about the trucks, and I got off the highway and did that right. Well, similarly in this job, I see guys that have been doing the same kind of thing, and they're like in their 70s and they're getting to retire. And I'm also looking at that and saying, I don't, that's not what I want. This isn't, I don't want to be like paycheck to paycheck and worrying about, like, I don't want, this is not me. I need to be going in a different direction. And the pattern that I've noticed in my life that I would like to be able to break free from this pattern is that I can rely on windfalls to come in that are exactly what I need to cover an unforeseen expense. But other than that, I'm perpetually living in some state of debt. Like there's always something there. Like I used to tell the story that I noticed a pattern in my life that as soon as I got my debts paid off and paid off all my credit cards, credit off everything, maybe like have the mortgage left, but no car note, no nothing. And then I start saving and I would get to $2,500. And as soon as I got to $2,500, something catastrophic would happen
Mm.
and would wipe out my savings and I'd have to open up more credit cards and I'd be right back where I started again, you know? And that happened 5 times. And the last time I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. There has to be a better way.
Mm.
And so for like the last year or so, I've been trying to find a different way to do it. Because in the past, I would just like, get a job at Lowe's, or I was in the military, I could take another deployment or whatever it was. But then throughout that pattern, if there was ever like an extra need, like there would be a windfall that covered that expense. So for example, a couple of years ago, we refinanced our house. And just the way that things worked out between the different mortgage companies, there was 1 month and I didn't have to pay a mortgage.
Mm.
And I thought, great, it was like $1,700. And of course, I had like a list. I'm like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take care of that, blah, 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 right? And, but before I spent a dime of that,
Mm.
my cat went up to my wife and peed on her foot, which is, if you're a cat lover, when cats like pee someplace that they're not supposed to, it means they're having some kind of health problem.
Sure.
And, but he ended up getting a blocked urethra and we had to take him into the emergency veterinarian. And the vet bill came, and it was $1,689. I'm like, thanks.
You can't make this up. You can't make this up.
Right? Like, I'm like, how does this? So,
Yeah.
but like when things like that used to make me angry, and I'd be like, look, like God hates me and blah blah blah. But then that when it happened with my cat, I was like, all right, let's flip the script on this and let's be grateful. Let's just say, you know what, cool, this happened, and now Marley's alive, and Kelly's happy, and the expenses are covered, and if you look at me from here down, I don't miss many meals, so I'm not hungry, right? So, but the thing is I can never get to the point where it's like, how do I want to be able to break that cycle so that I can save money and just like go see my dad, or just go, like my oldest son lives in Washington State, and I haven't seen him for ages. I haven't met my grandkids.
No.
And because I've just never been able to get out there and do that, because it's always just like, just enough, just enough, just enough, and then a windfall that you think you're going to be able to go see the grandkids, but then the cat, you know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, I could be like like an old West guy and just be like, "Oh, screw the cat, I'm going to see the grandkids."
Yeah.
But then what does that do for morale in the family? And also I love my cat, he's a good dude.
I have
But
so many things that I'm like, God, can we take 5 hours? Can we just spend 5 hours? Just
this
this
will, you know what,
one
I'm
little
just
bit,
this is
right?
this is
All
this is my secret ploy, is that I'm actually, I started a podcast because I can't afford therapy.
I love it. Well, I want to do some work. Honestly, like I'm like, listen, and like, you were talking about helping people and coaching. Like, I love it so much. Like, I'm like, okay, I have to pull myself back. I could be at a party and somebody's just telling an anecdote, and I'm like,
Oh yeah.
you want to work on that? You want to like, and I'm like, ooh, can we do some work? I'm so excited. So I'm sitting here and you're telling me a story, and I'm like, we can do this. We can do this. I want to ask this. I'm like, I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing. Like, I love how clear you are with your imagery, and like this, like, I think you have a superpower, I don't know how much you acknowledge it, but like this seeing the present moment, right? And being able to kind of hold it in your mind and
Mhm.
look at it three-dimensionally and then make a decision from that, like seeing the cars, seeing now this pattern where this, windfall then bridges the gap, but then leaves you in this familiar place,
Mhm.
right? Of just getting by, right?
Yeah.
One of the things I noticed is like in your list of like what to do with the windfall or that little extra is there's never, or just keep it.
I am okay. So here's what I did. I know I skipped over that, but there's method to my madness. Is that one year I had gone through divorce, and because I was in Iraq. My second wife, well, Kelly's my third wife, but my first two wives were with me during my military career, and I was just gone all the time. I was just go 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 go. Back then, I don't know how you feel on astrology, but I'm on the cusp between Sagittarius and Capricorn. And when I was younger, I was very, 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 very Sagittarius. You could not tie me down. I was going. And I've been all the way around the world, have had amazing experiences, but that's not a good time to have a wife and try to raise kids. So my wives, God love them, they're really, really good women. But they were just like, peace out, bro. I can't do this military life thing. And Kelly met me like right on the tail end of that. So I'm staunchly in my Capricorn energy.
Awesome.
But no, so one time I went through this whole cycle again, where I paid everything off and I got the $2,500, and I thought, well, okay, well, I'm gonna experiment now, see what happens. And I put an extra $100 in, and within a month, my ex took me back to court for more child support, which meant I had to hire attorneys, and then I had to like travel back and forth to Pittsburgh. And within 6 months, I was right back in the same spot again. And I'm like, okay, yep, this is my pattern. So I'm not gonna do this anymore. I kind of became paranoid. But now I see that, I know that based on like the mirror principle and the principle of correspondence, like the things that I see on the outside are a reflection of how I am on the inside. So that's that's the thing I can't figure out. It's like, what do I need to change on the inside so that pattern on the outside stops,
Yeah.
and I can start to move up and have more freedom in my life.
I have two
So
questions.
sure.
So, one, if money was a metaphor for the amount of life you let in,
Mm-hmm.
what's your story about how much life you're able to claim from an infinite source?
Apparently not much, because I don't understand the question.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay, so let's say money is
Yeah.
energy, right?
Right.
So, and that's hard because like we're like, well, wait a minute, money is like, I work, I get I do this, I get some money, I spend some money, and it's this
Right.
exchange value, which it is.
Mhm.
But let's take it to like this like flowing, like there's enough money, right? We
Mhm.
might, so if it's life force, like your life force, can you take as much as you want, or are you taking from somebody else? If you're like, this is life force, man, I'm going to take it all. What's what comes up about that, right?
That's a good question. I mean, I grew up in northern New Hampshire, and my dad always used to say that we weren't poor, we were broke, because poor is a state of mind and broke is a state of bank account.
I like it.
And yeah, which is true. And I tell my daughter, because I've got like a pension and a VA disability and I've got a civil service job. So the money comes in regularly. I'm not worried about that. I have a very reliable, steady flow of income. But when my daughter asks me, 'cause she doesn't understand money, she's like, "Dad, are you a millionaire?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I'm a millionaire." Because if you take is going to be coming in, it's probably about what you know the interest off of $1 million. So sure, why not? In her brain doesn't make any difference.
Right.
But I have always had a problem with um like when I've tried to start a business or I've tried to do something where I would perform, provide a good or service in exchange for money. I get jammed up there really like hard. Like I want to just give it away. I have a hard time saying like I made this and here you can have it for some money. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm just gonna make it to you and give it to you. So, I'm like a lot of Christmas presents and or it's something like that. But then my income for my almost my entire adult life has come from federal service, the military, or now I'm civil service, or I worked for a state employee for a while. Um, because but I think to answer your question is that I feel as though in some way, in order to bring in income, I need to be serving. So anyway, does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
But then also that's also a very fine aperture through which the money can come. Make
So what's
sense?
that aperture?
Yeah, I don't know, because it's always been based on like my rank or my pay grade or whatever that is. You know, um, interesting.
So turn toward
This
that
is
and like, what's that feel like in your body? Like, look at the aperture and how you don't actually want to see the size, right? Or whatever part is resisting, like really giving that
yeah.
a look. Both are fine. There's no right or wrong, but like, so you're Jonah on the boat, right? You're making a decision. Do I look toward the aperture, or I'm like, I'm just going to keep riding the crest of what I know?
Yeah.
What does that
I
feel like in your body, not your mind? What does that feel like in your body?
I don't know. It's like a hollow spot right there. That's really weird.
Okay, so turn to the hollow spot. And now feel how you don't want or how you manage that hollow spot, right? And let your brain like kind of sit on the shelf because you're breaking rules right now. You're breaking some really important rules, and it's
Hmm.
okay. You're in a safe place, and we're just investigating this. There's no right or wrong, and there's no expectation of an actual next step. It's just looking at the whole that has a lot of guards keeping you from ever noticing that you have that hole.
Interesting.
Right? So you just look at it and
Yeah,
start to
this that
feel
but
it.
this is a really weird sensation for me. Like I can't. It's like I'm. Are you a Doctor Who fan at all?
Oh my gosh, a million years ago. Yeah. I wasn't one that could like name the things, but it was always like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah.
Well, they have these. There's this. It's a deception cloak that they use in Doctor Who, and if you look straight at it, you can't see it. You got to look just a little bit, and you can only see it in the peripheral. And that's what I feel like as I'm looking at that thing, but there's like nothing there.
It's awesome. That's
Yeah.
a perfect metaphor. So accept that construct, because here's the cool thing about our subconscious, and beneath that, it has never missed a millisecond of your life. Temperature in a
Mm,
room, look on somebody's face. So now it's giving you this, that's an incredible shorthand, what you just said, for the
mm.
experience of having this thing that has a cloak of deception.
Interesting.
Right? So now acknowledge that your body gave you this really powerful piece of information that it has been holding for an incredibly long time, because that metaphor did not come from the adult version of you. When was the last time you saw Doctor Who? Aside from the new remake and all that, right?
I've been a Doctor Who fan my whole life, but
Okay. So
well,
then it integrates all levels, right?
it really kind of does.
Okay, so
Um,
let's look at it. What does it feel like to acknowledge the cloak of deception inside the hole, the aperture of what you let in based on how you show up and serve?
so here's all right. So here's what's going through my head. I've been telling this story a lot lately, um, but you've never heard it, so you'll hear it. You'll hear it now. It's great. I have. I don't know if there's something. Well, I was going to say I don't know if there's something wrong with my brain, but I do know there's something wrong with my brain. But that's a whole different scenario. But I have very, very, very early childhood memories. Like I remember being an infant. I remember crawling. I remember teaching myself how to walk. I remember. I remember nursing. Like I have those memories. They're there with me. And one of my earliest childhood memories, and this one formed kind of the crux of my limiting beliefs, I believe, was that it was a spring day. I've seen photographs from this day. It was an Easter Sunday afternoon, and the whole family got together at my it wasn't my grandparents' house, but it was like a friend of the family, their house. And I was sitting in the grass, and my mother and my aunt were there, and my older sister was in my mother's lap, and my cousins, I think it was my younger cousin, was in my aunt's lap, and my two older cousins were walking around. But I was picking up grass and putting it in my mouth. And I remember the texture, I remember the sensation of it. And my aunt took it out of my mouth and said, "Oh, no, no, you can't do that, Sean." And, and I got mad at her. And, because it was disgusting, but I wanted to have the sensation. And, but I tried to go crawl into my mom's lap to be comforted, but I couldn't because my sister was there. And then I went to go crawl in my aunt's lap, but I couldn't because my cousin was there. So I ended up just kind of like sitting in the grass and like sulking a little bit. And the part of the core limiting belief, the core construct of my life has been that the thing that I want is specifically denied to me and taken away from me. And when I try to go for comfort, the place where I want to go is also specifically denied to me. But it's just out of reach, but then somebody else can have it. You see what I mean?
I,
So
yeah.
so that has played out in my life, in my, you know, marriages and career and just finances and all relationships with my kids and just everything, where I'm always just like the thing that I really want is just out of reach, and for some reason I specifically cannot have it.
You want to you want to go meet that part right now?
Sure.
Close your eyes.
Okay. I'm nervous.
It's okay. It's, that's a totally valid response, because that part also now like has its operating system to survive and its
Yeah.
belief. And then it creates resistance, and then you resist against it, trying to overcome it on the regular. Right. And so
Oh.
turning in is the scariest thing, because what it's trying to do is never feel that way again, but it resists you, you resist back, and we create a perpetual state of feeling that.
Oh wow.
Right.
Oh
So
wow.
nervousness
Okay.
is the exact right
Right.
feeling, because
Okay.
you're breaking all the rules.
Interesting.
Your body wants you, that same craving comfort is suspended in time. It's it's never evolved. It's still sitting there waiting for that moment where somebody notices and reaches down and gives you the comfort or whatever it
Yeah.
needed at the moment, right?
Wow.
So if we go back, close your eyes.
Okay.
And I know you're in your head and you have this incredible mind, right?
Mm,
So ask it to be integrated, but we're going to go hang out in the body.
okay.
So go back and see this young version of yourself sulking in the grass, looking for comfort, feeling denied, looking for comfort, feeling denied, feeling kind of irritated that you got corrected from a different version of experiencing life, right? The grass was something you wanted. So there's so many levels of denial, and you're being, excuse me, left alone to figure this out. What you want is just out of reach. What's the Really look at that little boy, and this isn't who you are, this is an experience, and it's safe to have it because it's happening anyway. What worldview is crystallizing in this little child's heart, mind, body timeline?
Are you asking?
I am.
Hmm. Oh, there's a feeling, there's a rejection. There's a feeling of rejection
Yeah.
because it was like jealousy towards my sister and the cousins. But then I see that pattern that continues to reverberate through my childhood towards those same people.
So, what is rejection to a small child? That's life or death.
Right.
It's life or death. So, go back
Right.
and look
Okay.
at this little child feeling this incredibly huge emotion. Like, I will die if I
Mm.
am not accepted. I am tethered to needs that I cannot perform on my own at this point, right? And I'm left with this giant thing in my nervous system to regulate on my own. What survival skill, what piece of him did he trade in order to survive that potentially life or death situation?
What piece of him would he trade?
Yeah, like so some of us, like little kids, might stop being themselves and hide if there's an abusive person or a violent or scary person, and they trade being seen, right? Or
Mm.
little babies left in the crib to cry it out might go, hey, it's all on me, no one's ever coming, right?
Oh.
I
Oh.
can't,
Oh. Wow. Okay.
right, right?
Yeah.
So in this particular moment, like what shift is happening in this young, totally plugged in little kid, little child,
Wow.
tiny child, that he's going to augment in himself in order to survive what feels in their nervous system in reality like a potentially unsurvivable thing, rejection.
The the thing that keeps coming up, it's hard to put words on it,
Yeah, it's
but
okay.
it's like the it's this idea that I cannot rely on the feminine for anything, for sustenance or protection, or I need to stay I need to stay focused on my things and just paying attention to the rules. And I cannot rely on that. And then it's interesting too that it was my sister in my mother's lap, and then my younger cousin, who's a girl, in my aunt's lap. So it was all females.
Mm,
That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
But
that's
then
big.
also,
Go
yeah,
back.
but
That's
so
big. Just park there for a second and don't hold that and
sure.
hold that next thought. I want to hear it. But I cannot rely on the feminine.
Yeah.
I have to focus on my own things. But in order to even focus on my own things, I got to fly under the radar and just like toe the line, follow the rules.
Wow.
Okay, part one and the next part that's coming up.
It's that so when you asked me to look at the source of wealth, look at the aperture, whatever
Mhm,
that thing was, and I said
mhm.
that I couldn't see it. Um, in my mind, in my paradigm, that source that comes through, not the invisible source, but the tangible source that's there, that is the feminine. That's Gaia. So everything that is matter in my worldview is feminine. Um,
So how could you possibly let more
right,
than just the bare minimum come through?
right, because of course it's going to be denied to me.
Right.
So I'm just going to do what I need, and that's it, and it's fine, and no more, no less. Because if I ask for more, it's just going to be denied to me anyway. So I should just stay here, abide by the rules, and keep going through this cycle.
Awesome.
Am
Okay, so I
I
want you to take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Take a deep
okay?
breath
Okay.
and sink back into your body.
Okay.
You're not going to lose these thoughts. It's recorded. So I now want you to feel that really palpably in your body, right? Take those ideas and just feel this moment being denied by multiple streams of feminine life source, the most precious, valuable thing that you really needed in that moment. Okay. Now, as yourself right now, I want you to walk into that picture. I want you to go walk up to your younger self. And I want you to introduce yourself. And then I want you to turn around 360 and let him see you and say, hey, dude, you are amazing. You created a construct to survive this incredibly painful, scary moment to get me to help me live, to help me survive. And you used the resources that you had at this time, which were a denial of even allowing that to come in so you wouldn't feel that rejection again. It was brilliant, creative, and so sacrificial. It was the bravest thing. You denied yourself love, connection, and abundance.
Hmm.
For me, you traded the most valuable things to keep me alive. And I've been fighting against you ever since, trying to tell you to change your mind when this is the most important thing you could have ever done. And I've never turned around and said thank you. I've never acknowledged that you shaved off just feeling free and happy and cared for me. I've kept you in the dungeon, tried to pack you under a million things to make you not exist. And I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was you. But now that I do, I came running back as fast as I could to let you off the hook. This big job you've been doing, you've done it. You accomplished it. It's over. Look at what you did. Look at my life. Look at my journeys. Look at all the women I've created. We have a daughter. We have so much. And now I get to talk to people and share this amazing journey that's not over, it's still unfolding, all because of you keeping me alive. Will you please hand this responsibility over to me?
Hmm.
What does he think?
He doesn't quite trust me.
Okay. And say, you know what? Why would you? I've been
Yeah.
fighting. You know better than me. This is scary. How could you possibly trust me? But who knows you better than me?
Hmm.
I am you because of you. And you don't have to trust me. And I'm still never going to leave you again. You can hand this over or not. But from now on, we're in partnership. And you don't have to sit here alone because I'm going to sit with you in this big moment.
Hmm.
I'm going to be the parent, the connection, the life source you needed when you felt completely abandoned and rejected. And I'm never going to force you to let go of what is most important to you. But I am going to keep asking. And
Yeah, I can feel it. I can feel it relaxing now.
yeah, yeah. And ask him if he wants to hold
Hmm.
your hand, or if it's okay if you can pick him up.
Yeah, I'm holding him right now. We're
Yeah,
talking.
that's awesome. Just say, hey, can we move this from this kind of crystallized moment in the dungeon, the darkness of our being? Can we move it into the light of our heart?
Hmm.
Ask him to create a room in your heart, and he can design it however he feels connected, free, safe, creative. He can make the wallpaper, the bed, the toys, books, whatever. Or it could be a treehouse or running in a field, wherever he feels safe.
Hmm.
And then look him in the eyes and see that vitality, that spark, that determination, the will that chose a really difficult disconnect to survive. He's incredible. He's beautiful. He's so strong. And he's tired. He's been doing this in the background. No love, no support, no acknowledgement, definitely no understanding. And he did it in spite of you, trying to wipe him out. He's exhausted.
Hmm.
Invite him to take a nap. His work is done. And you're so grateful for him. He's so beautiful. And you're so lucky you get to be him because he's just the coolest guy in the world. Maybe tuck him in, read him a story, get him a glass of water. Reaffirm that you are in this together and you're never going to leave him. And he will never walk alone in any of these moments. And as he starts to relax or choose to restore his battery in whatever way he needs, let him know you're going to walk out of the room right now, but you're just one call away. All he needs to do is call you, and you are going to come and hug him, comfort him, soothe him, give him space to be understood, whatever he needs. Because he gets to be who he is. He's necessary and perfect, exactly as he is. Tiptoe to the door, leave it open or shut, however he feels safest and most connected to you. Blow him a kiss, and then turn and start to walk away. Feel the air on your skin, wiggle your toes and fingers, and whenever you're ready, take a deep breath and open your eyes.
Wow.
How you doing?
Good. I had not thought about the heroism of the infant. It seems like a good title for an essay.
I love it. Absolutely.
Or
I
maybe,
love how you instantly put that in a title, actually.
yeah, because I'm trying to think of a story from literature or fiction that conveys that idea, but nothing's coming to mind. But it's that, yeah, that idea of that forgotten little hero in there, just holding everything together.
And the amygdala, or those crystallizations of those moments, those profound moments, don't know
Yeah,
how to don't know how to tell time. They don't know that that's not happening anymore until you go back and
it's
help them,
true.
right?
Yeah.
And that's why we fight
Interesting.
with the same themes and we can't move the needle.
Oh,
So if you're telling this little part, cut it out, dude. You don't know that you're talking to this part, right? But like, go get more money, get more abundance, get more love, trust the feminine, trust whatever. And this little part's like, are you kidding me? This is life or death. You're
yeah.
not doing that. You don't know what you're talking about. So that's why that's why sometimes affirmations don't work. That's why, like, all
Mm,
these things, then you're like, well, what's wrong with me? When other people are like, well, I'm manifesting more. I'm putting this little, slush fund of funds away. Like, how come it's not working for me?
yeah.
What am I doing wrong?
You
Well,
know,
you're
for a long time, I had this hypothesis, and actually just up until probably like the last 45 seconds or so, I had this hypothesis that that manifestation actually does not work for men. It
mm,
only works for women. And my argument was that from an evolutionary point of view, it it's it doesn't make sense for the manifestation process to work for men because men don't always last as long, and they die in wars, and they die in, getting eaten by bears or whatever it is. But the females carry on the genetics. They raise the next generation. They do all that kind of stuff. So in my hypothesis, it was, if you're a man and you ever manifested anything, is because there's a woman somewhere that wants something that you are going to be able to provide.
mm.
And but I'm not so sure that's true anymore.
But
I
that
don't know.
may be
Yeah.
true for you, because if you're seeking feminine connection through providing a service now, which is another side that we didn't really address, is like,
Mm,
well, if I serve, then I am necessary to get this connection that I was denied by just being me. So there's high motivation for you to create something to serve that feminine person in you. So this story makes sense based on the evidence of your life, both
mm,
visible and invisible, right? You didn't just like pull that out of the ether and make up something.
right.
It makes sense to you.
What was the last thing you said?
It makes sense to you,
Oh, it makes sense to me. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Wow.
Sorry, I put you in the deep end of the
Yeah, you did. Hey, like, hey, Sean, guess what? You're going for a swim.
I had floaties just in case you needed
You
them
thought this was
prepared.
going to be like an easy, relaxing conversation about, EFTs or whatever. Nope. Wow.
We haven't even thrown in the EFT, which supersizes all of this. But so just to go back, so take a deep breath, shake it off.
Mm,
It's all energy. But I ask you, so if you're going to an infinite source of life, an abundant,
mm,
unending source of life, and you get to take some of that, what's your
mm.
appetite now?
Wow. I I still have a hesitation, but for a different reason now.
Okay,
Because are you familiar with Joe Dispenza?
I am.
Okay, so a couple years ago, I did all of his meditations, um, like regularly for several months. And one time I was doing the blessing of the energy centers, a particular meditation, and I had been releasing different traumas, like things have been coming up, and I've been processing and doing the work the right way. But then one day, I had that thing that he's always talking about, where it's like a body orgasm or like a brain orgasm, and I felt this uh energy that got unlocked in me, and it
Mm.
felt like I was like strapped to the front of a freight train, like I was on a bullet train, and it was just going, and it scared me so much. I was like, "Ooh, I'm not gonna." I got out of the meditation and didn't do that meditation again for months because it was so much energy. It was so intense. And now though, that we've had this discussion, when I think about looking at that source of abundance of the universe, now I see that same energy that like was trying to bust through me, and I see it as that, and I'm kind of like, oh, okay, I see that that's there, but now in my mind it's like a loaded gun or like a
Mhm.
loaded cannon, so I can see it, but there's still that sense of danger that it could be overwhelming. Does that
Mhm.
make sense?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So acknowledge that, turn towards that, and acknowledge that. Instead of like like shrink down or run away or and it's like leave it there, and that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's a lot. Maybe you unlocked. I know you've got some stuff like where I think we're a little over our.
Are you there? I think you froze again. Are you there?
There.
Oh yeah, you
I can.
froze again.
I can see you. Can you see me?
Yep, you're back.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You were frozen like
Awesome. So instead of the mind, right? The mind has been managing a lot,
hmm.
right? So if you go into the body, turn back to that cloak of deception, and just let's check in with that. What's happening there?
The cloak of deception. I'm not sure. I'm not tracking.
Earlier at the beginning, that when we like, what's the feeling there of this like lack, and you were like, there's a void, and then you were like, and Doctor Who,
Okay.
right.
Um, I see it. The image that I keep getting is I had a conversation with an engineer like years and years and years ago. We were talking about federal grants and all this other kind of crazy stuff, but the image that he gave me was of, if you think about the overall federal budget, it's like this huge like water that's pouring through a dam. It's just, a dam that's, a mile wide and just like flowing everywhere. And that's just the United States budget.
Mm.
And what you're trying to do is take a little coffee cup and just fill it up, you know, and that's what you're doing. Like it's so completely inconsequential. Like your entire annual salary is like filling up a little thermos and walking away from this incredible flow of just, water that's going over this dam. And that's the image that I'm getting now, is of that incredible flow of, like just going and going and going and going and going. And I can just, I can take whatever it is that I want. And it doesn't matter. I'm not taking away from anybody because eventually it's going to evaporate and go right back into it anyway.
Right.
Right. It
So
doesn't
remember
matter.
earlier I said I had two things. This is amazing. This is what I love about like the serendipitous aspects of these conversations. The second
Yeah.
part was, so I love that imagery. My imagery was like, if you go to the ocean, you walk up to the ocean and there's an infinite amount. You can take as much as you want
Right.
without ever leaving less for anyone else. And like you said, then it also just recirculates, right?
Yeah.
So we're walking up with a little teacup thinking, oh, I
Right.
don't want to take so much, right? I remember years ago I did this, and it was like, me working on my own money issues, and I'm like, well, heck, I'm gonna go get a pump truck, and I'm like pulling in the pipes, right? Because think about
Yeah.
more like money isn't always like, I'm fed, I'm sheltered, that's great, that's whatever, but the extra money is like, what do you love that bugs you, you know we have
Mm.
an animal problem here in the South because it's always mating season. There's not ever like the time where puppies are just going to die, right? So,
Mm.
and also the city, then everything gets amplified by mismanagement and I'm busy, blah, blah, blah. It's a big problem. Like the abundance I can just pass that to those people who are helping with that because it
Mm.
makes me feel good about how I want the world to be. I don't want anything to suffer, right?
Right. Yeah.
Or it could be, children with disabilities or, podcast university, just to like, so we're connected and just having meaningful conversations. Like money can be a conduit to how we show up and live our life. It doesn't have to be diamonds, riches, whatever, but it also can be, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why not bring the pump?
Yeah. Yeah. Because to me, like when I think about wealth and money and the things that I would like to do, I'm not interested in, like, I'm perfectly happy with my Toyota RAV4. I love it. It's bulletproof. I'll probably never have to buy another car unless it gets T-boned or whatever. But like, and there's, to me, there's a badge of honor that comes if you can get like 350,000 miles out of one car. It's amazing. It's like, it's a challenge for me. I love to be able to do that. So, I don't need to get like some big ego. I've got 5 kids. Like, I've proven my masculinity. I'm good.
Love it.
I don't need to prove anything else. I'm good. But, and I've got a beautiful wife and a nice house, and I'm in a good neighborhood, and I'm like, I may have all the things that I need. I would just like them to be like, just like a little bit nicer. That's all.
Or take that trip to go see the grandkids.
Or take the trips to go see the grandkids, and just to be able to do that and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and not have to go and talk to my boss and say, I need to save up my vacation time so that I can go spend a week with my father, but just be like, I'm going to go spend a week with my father now. I think I lost you again. You there? You look like you're meditating.
Hello?
There you are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you were meditating again. You look very peaceful. Yeah, that's my idea of that's what wealth looks like to me, is and that's part of the reason why I'm doing this, because this is the sort of thing that I can do to bring value to the world. Like, I don't know who's going to watch this and get incredible, freedom from it, like, and that's none of my business, frankly. But I can share it with the world and see where it goes. But yeah, my idea of wealth is to be able to just go see the grandkids, go see my dad, go see Jersey. Come here. That's my dog. Jersey, come on, come here.
Speaking of animals, he or she got the memo. Hey, you talking
I think
about?
she did. Come here. Want to say hello? Oh, she's can't see her, but she's gonna get to be my old girl. She's been my sweetheart for a long time. She's almost 11, so she's starting to get like the gray in her muzzle and everything like that. But anyway, she comes down and checks on me once in a while, so just to make sure I'm doing okay.
Hey, there's your feminine energy. Look, you found a way.
I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah. You want to come up here? You want to come here? Come here. You want to say hi? No, she's camera shy. She's like, I'm not doing that.
I love it.
Anyway, but yeah, that's my vision. That's kind of where I'm going with all this is, and I don't think that's asking a whole lot, but at the same time, I lost my train of thought, because I would also like to be able to. Okay, so here's another thing that I'm trying to accomplish is, like I said, I've got 5 kids, and because of, military service and civil service and all this kind of stuff, there's a lot of things that I never learned about money. And I have this idea now that, particularly with my kids' generation, that we're coming into a time where it's going to be impossible for them to just like get a regular job and make any kind of a living. There's just, I think that world is over now, effectively. And so I feel a strong urge to learn how to develop my own entrepreneurial tendencies and strengths so that I can teach them how to do that. And like I was talking about earlier, where, I want to be able to point out those footsteps that I'm taking so that they can also take them, because I don't have any delusions that I'm gonna, be like the next Joe Rogan and have hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever. Like, I mean, if it happens, cool, but I don't care. That's not my directive. But to be able to teach upcoming generations how to generate their own wealth and to have the confidence to be able to do that and to move into the world in a different way and take advantage of different tax structures and take advantage of different, entrepreneurial spirit and training opportunities and all that kind of stuff that I didn't have access to when I was younger. Uh-oh. Oh,
Okay. And take that into the next generation was the last
yeah.
thing yeah.
Yeah, but then to be able to take those skills and teach a younger generation how to do it, and teach them how to do the things that I'm figuring out right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my vision. But that's what I want to do with the time that I have left.
I think that's
yeah, I think so. I think so.
Because if we bring it back to that, money is kind of life's source and how we let it in, because that gives us the thing that we do to exchange the value, right? And then make kind of the creation of, and going way back, that God thread that already walks in all of us, right? We share in that creationism, right?
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's really profound too.
Well, you started it.
Man,
I don't know. I know you have a next meeting coming up. It's been.
I do not. I had a previous meeting.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's been an hour and 20 minutes. So, but yeah, this has been great.
Yeah. Well, there's so much more to talk about. So
I know.
Get together and chat again. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, so give me one before we go though. Give me a plug for your website, your program. What have you got going on that folks would need to know about?
So basically, I've been working for 12 years to create the most condensed, powerful process that can help people shift those things, kind of like we talked about today, that are the hidden parts working in opposition that create resistance. We resist back, and we spend so much energy just kind of navigating life on top of that. So how do you go in and collect those shattered parts back into wholeness? They bring their superpowers, and then you're free to then do what you want to do.
Wow. This has been a fantastic conversation. And you're frozen again. Oh.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Actually,
the
book.
it froze up like right as you finished your sentence. It was perfect timing.
Okay, good. But you can go to startyourbetterlife.com, basically, interact with all the things there. I'm open to conversation. I love giving. I love chatting. We're all in this together. And yeah, but I don't know if that's enough plug.
I think that's great. I think it's fantastic. And yeah, this has been truly a gift. And I feel so honored and privileged to have spoken with you. This has just been amazing. And you're definitely on my list to call back and do this again sometime.
Yeah, let's do it. There's so many great conversations out there.
Oh man. Yeah, there's so many fun things that we can unpack, I think. Yeah. So
I really appreciate the time that you've taken to chat.
I appreciate your time as well. It's been really, really nice.
All right. Well, until next time, right?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much. And all right. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so now it's being recorded. Awesome. I'm glad I remembered to do that. I'm just like, I had this amazing conversation with Whitney today. Nobody's ever going to know about it. Just us.
Wish you were there.
My whole podcast would be like, I swear I talked to this lady, and I think this is what we talked about, but you'll never know. Call her yourself.
I love it. I love it.